I know. I'm facing the window. I love the window, but okay.
Hey there, this is Dan Nguyen with the Vietnamese American Chamber Expert Talks. With me today, I have Miss Gia Ly, CEO of ArrowGTP. It is a multicultural marketing, branding, and public relations firm with clients in the private and public sectors. Her serial entrepreneur journey spans a variety of industries, including nonprofit, transportation, public health, social services, insurance, hospitality, retail, and of course, marketing. And she's also the current past president of the Vietnamese American Chamber of Commerce. I want to welcome to the talk, Ms. Gia Ly.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you for joining us here. As Dan introduced already, ArrowGTP has been around for 8 years now. And after almost a decade in the mainstream corporate structure, I decided to go into hospitality while pursuing my MBA. And so ArrowGTP was co-founded as a local contractor for Google under the new program, the MAPS program called Google My Business.
And Google My Business is an important part of being found on the internet and kind of overall as your marketing process. And today we're going to talk about startup marketing essentials that not only every new business owner should know, but also every seasoned business owner should know. Let's first talk about maybe the strategic marketing process, because I think it's important for having a roadmap rather than kind of just doing things here and then. Maybe having a roadmap about your strategic marketing process and plan. Can you talk a little bit about why it's important to have a process and what that might look like?
Right. So thank you for that, Dan. Actually, what usually I would give people a three-prong, like a pyramid, right, with three prongs. And so whenever you do any business plan and or business or marketing plan, you want to look into, at least two out of the three prongs that you want to have. So let's say, but one is budget, time, and resources, right? So let's say you have time and you have resources, but with a limited budget. So it's feasible, right? Very possible. But you have to also understand that, you can't have everything right away. So it will take some time. It will take a lot more resources to do what you want to do. Let's say you don't have time, but you have a huge budget and, the resources available. Then, let's just launch in the next 6 months or so, right? So that's why and then you've heard of the SWOT analysis. Some of you might have heard of, right? So strength, weakness, right? Opportunity and threats. So you want to look into that, do your planning, and then once we start with that, then it's easier to just kind of start the implementation process. So generally speaking, I break it into three very simple phases: plan, just create and share. So there is a little bit of overlapping between the three phases, but you kind of want to go into that order, and you keep going back and you keep going back into that cycle. You plan, you change you create, and then you change your plan a little bit. You modify it as you see, as your business grows, and then you keep sharing. You want to share, but you have nothing to share. You want to share, but you don't really have a roadmap. Then you're gonna just do it sporadically.
I remember, you talk about time and resources, and I was sitting in a seminar once, and I remember the trainer was saying, if you're first starting out, you probably have more time than resources. And as a service-based professional, that tends to be like go network and find other professionals, and so you get referrals. And then as you grow your business, you probably have less time but more resources, and then there you can probably use it into hiring more people or running paid ads where you can, it doesn't take as much as your time, but you have the resource to spend on it. I want to move over to now into strategies and tactics. Now, these words get kind of thrown around a lot in the marketing world. Can you tell us the difference between what a strategy is and a tactic is as part of your overall marketing plan?
Right. So strategy basically is above tactics. So you have a strategy, right, of what that includes planning. We were talking about large scale, small scale, and why you're even doing that. What are your options? And usually your strategy is kind of difficult to copy, right? And it's long term. So under strength, you can have one, let's say one strategy, and then you set the goal. Like let's where I want to a strategy to the goal is to increase some sales, revenue this year. I mean, right? Which
Mhm.
business doesn't have that goal? Or even for nonprofit, I want to increase membership. I want to increase tangible or intangible values for my members. And then so you have your strategy. What you would what are you going to do in the next what are some of the strategies to do the next 3 months, 6 months, and then 1 year or so. And so within that, so what do we need to do today to get that goal? The tactic would be, what are you doing today to get to that 1 month goal, to get to that 3, 6, and 1 year goal, for instance. Right? So
Mhm.
some of the, and it goes into very details as far as, oh, I'm going to use social media, I'm going to drive more web traffic, I'm going to have more people coming to my store. Let's play some local ads to get people to my storefront, for example. So that would be a tactic.
Okay, so it sounds like tactics are the kind of the very specific things that business owners need to do, and
Right.
the strategy is that's kind of an overarching umbrella as the particularly the general plan. Now, you talk about plan, create, and share, and I know with share there's both inbound and outbound marketing tactics. Can you share a little bit about those two particular? Let's start with inbound and how that affects, what that really entails and how can that benefit the business owner.
Right. I remember doing a class and I was like, oh, okay, inbound, outbound, and the students like, no idea, So think of it going in this way, out is going out, right? So
Mm-hmm.
inbound is what are the tactics? So inbound, how are you going to get people to come to you? Like you hear people coming to you, towards you. So some of the inbounds include without having to do like reaching out. Like I'm here, but you're coming to me. So that's in. So your branding suite, we're talking, right? In general, let's say your trademark, you do trademarks, so the
Mm-hmm.
part of branding, your logo, your business cards, your website, your app, your blog, right? Having a social media presence, we're talking about, this is part of the creation. Remember, plan, create, and share. You haven't shared yet, so you plan already with strategy as part of and tactics, right? That's your
Mm-hmm.
plan. Now we moved over to create. So creating, so you have a store, you have a retail store, and you put up your sign, you put up your you have a website. You haven't done anything yet. This is like purely creating one and having the content there. You have some posters, some handbooks, signage. We talked about that, right? Having some photos and video. You create your YouTube channel, for instance. The podcast, and so it's there. So create. You have created something. Now people organically kind of see you. They walk by the store, or they're searching for some services locally in the area, and they happen to stumble upon your website. So they're coming to you. They click on Google Maps to get to your store, or they call your store. That's considered inbound. Whenever you receive a phone call, some kind of interaction on your inquiry, a Facebook message, right, or WhatsApp message, that's considered inbound.
Now, uh, it's been a long time since malls have been very popular, but would you say, you're probably familiar with Cinnabon, right? And if you walk
Yeah.
by the Cinnabon, you can probably smell their cinnamon buns. And would you consider that the aroma, is that outbound marketing or is that inbound marketing?
Inbound, absolutely inbound, right? They have it because the location of where they're at, that's just also an inbound strategy and tactic, right? So at the corner, the right entrance when you walk in, or when
Mhm.
you have to walk past, pass by several stores to back and forth, and all your senses, everything that appeal to you, all your senses is
Mhm.
considered inbound. Exactly.
Mm. Right.
So an outbound of that would be, we'll talk about what the examples are. But if it were to be outbound, people would stand outside with a little tray and samples.
Mhm.
That's outbound. You reaching out, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very, very good point. And I frequently get offers on my phone for Cinnabon. So I think that's probably another example of outbound. They're using different channels
Yeah,
to reach their particular customers. Um,
right.
so let's maybe talk about some examples of strategic marketing initiatives that maybe a business owner can apply when they're starting. Maybe not even just starting out, but even maybe they need a refresher, right? And just kind of go back to the basics. What are some examples that you might want to share with the audience?
Sure, sure. So So that goes into some of what you need to do as outbound as well, right? So now
Hmm.
you have established your brick and mortar presence, your online presence. It's all established, it's all created, right? Now you need to do some reaching out, right? So that includes social media engagement, advertisings in multiple platforms, uh, even as a direct marketing, right? Direct mail, for example, or
Hmm.
being participating at the community event or any type of event or industry specific event, right? Going out
Hmm.
there, having your folks, your marketing reps and or your sales rep passing out collateral materials. For example, your packaging, right? When you send something, you package something, you have little notes that thank you for that. Here's the additional discount code, the branding on your packaging, that's also outbound, right? And of course, we talked about advertising, virtual event, right? Because there's a lot of that hybrid
Hmm.
format going on nowadays too. So
Hmm.
things that you could do, referral from existing customers, right? You get testimonials from the people that have tried your services and they vouch for you.
Hmm.
Online lead generation. You mentioned text. We get texts and emails all the time nowadays. So that those are all outbounds as well. I mentioned community-based organization events. So be part of that, right? Create all these partnerships. Our premise, contacts an event, meaning that reach out to people, not just sitting here and waiting for people to knock your door.
Hmm.
And then we're talking about the word of mouth, mass media communication. So that's when, as you grow or as you able to increase your ad and your marketing budget, you can do more mass media communications. And of course, you look into, nowadays people talk about traditional online versus offline. And there is always that balance as well.
All right. And excuse me, what conversation about marketing doesn't involve the big G, Google, the largest search engine in the world? Now they do have a lot of products and services available to the startup company. Can you share a little bit about what they offer and
Right.
what some other tools that are the business owners can take advantage of for their marketing?
So I mentioned, online platforms earlier. So if people think of online platform, they instantly think of social media. Well,
Mm.
social media is also part of online, but if you want to really broaden, your whole strategy, you want to look into everything online is, a an ecosystem, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of people like retails or like brick and mortar services look into Yelp, right? Having
Mhm.
that, and then of course Google has its own as well. So
Mhm.
now, when you think of Google, the first thing people think of is Google Maps, right? It's been around
Mhm.
for a long time. It's just getting ingrained, and it's in most of our mobile as well, right?
Mhm.
Devices. So Google My Business is one of that. And so now, but even to when to start out, what does that mean? How do I even start it? So what they have is called Google Workspace. This is like a new name. They go
Mhm.
through it. Even Google themselves go through multiple, changes, the evolution of their
Right.
branding process, right?
Right.
So it was formerly known as the G Suite. So we hear G
Mhm.
Suite all the time. So what does that mean? It was, it is what it is. Like work the entire ecosystem of their workspace. That
Mhm.
includes, what do people know most? What's the second thing after Maps? Gmail, right? You
Mhm.
hear that all the
Mhm.
time. People think Gmail is a brand, but Gmail obviously is owned by Google. So when you have it, a Google account, meaning that you sign up for Gmail, you automatically, you get Drive, you get Google Drive, which is kind of like your, you know, uh, your space for all your to store, like basically a digital storage. Basically,
Mhm.
you can do Google Meet, with
Mhm.
virtual meetings and or events, chat, YouTube channel. That's actually a popular. How do we create a YouTube channel? When
Yeah.
you have a Google account, you have a Google channel. Well, obviously you have to go and set it up and all that, right?
Mhm.
Your calendar is on there, right? And so within Google Drive, which again, like I said, that's your Google storage, you have your versions of, what people are familiar with Microsoft Word. The equivalent of
Mhm.
the Google Microsoft Suite would be Google Docs, Sheet, Slides, and Forms, to do
Mhm.
multiple, your multiple tools. One thing I do want to mention that a lot of people tend to omit, say, free again. Sometimes, and the old saying, "You get what you pay for," holds
Mhm.
true, right? But there are smart investment that you can do as well. It's the simplest form that you can do is, I see a lot of this all the time. All this huge advertising marketing budget, and people are like XYZ at gmail.com. You can easily get a custom email for $6 a month.
Mhm.
And with that, you get your, everything that I mentioned, earlier, right? You get a custom email. right? And that instantly elevate, your brand right
Hmm.
away, get you taken, you builds your credibility, right? And then and then so that's when people say, wow, the professionalism, you don't even have to do much. That will be a lot of inbound for you right then and there. Just the fact that you have a custom email, right, to your whatever that your domain is. So so with that workspace, we talk about, there's a lot of, productivity and collaborations. A lot now time we work in a team environment, right?
Hmm.
Especially nowadays, there's the hybrid, the whole remote work culture as well.
Hmm.
So people, you can easily share it and do your work, effectively without having to, go with the old fashioned, like your desktop in the office, or else you cannot get anything done.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you have a great point about you can easily get a professional email, and I think that that does go a long way as to your presence to
Mhm.
other people, and how serious you are taking your business. All right, so we are here with Ms. Gia Ly from GTP, former past president of the Vietnamese American Chamber of Commerce, also sitting on the President's Council. As we wrap this up, is there any parting words you'd like to share with the audience about startup marketing?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, you kind of get what you pay for. You can do your due diligence, your research, due diligence, and a smart investment. End of the day, you know your business best. You kind of know what it needs. Just sometimes take a quick step outside of it and look from the outside in and look from the sideway. Go front, back, and side doors. It's kind of like say, hey, what else do I need to do from all angles? Because we do get inundated, with our day-to-day operations, and
Mhm.
it is a lot of work. I do commend you for that. People say, yeah, I don't, I want to be my own boss. I want to do my own business. And then so I quit my 9 to 5 just so I can work 24/7. It does hold true. But, take a minute, take a moment, do your plan a little bit and replan
Mhm.
and keep replanning bit by bit. Doesn't have to be a lot.
Mhm.
That will go a long way.
And I think that's important that you mentioned. You got to take a objective, maybe even a 360 view of your own business. Someone once told me, you know, uh, you're too close to the forest to see the trees, right? So you're,
Exactly.
and I think it's business owners should join organizations like the Vietnamese Chamber of Commerce or other business organizations where they can
Absolutely.
talk with other business owners to get some perspective about their business. So I want to thank you again, Gia, for sharing your expertise with us. And if anyone listening out there has an interest in joining a Chamber of Commerce, reach out to us, and we be happy to talk to you about getting you on board.
Absolutely. And I'll be here at the chamber and I'm happy to talk to everyone as well.
All right, thanks again, Gia.
All right. Have a good one. Bye bye.